So this was the home of Mark Townsend. He built it in 1890 and lived here till 1906. He was a state senator, and he also sponsored the bill to save the Alamo so the state could purchase the Alamo to save it. And he was also a major player in the feud here in town. So he had backed Light Townsend for sheriff, and Sam Reese was his deputy. And when Light died of food poisoning, Sam Reese became sheriff. But then when the elections were coming up, Mark Townsend backed Larkin Hope for sheriff instead of Sam Reese, thereby assuring that Larkin was going to become sheriff. And so Jim Coleman assassinated Larkin Hope just before the election, but Mark Townsend had a man named Burford run against Sam Reese, and he became sheriff, and that's what started the feud here in Columbus. So maintaining control of the sheriff's office was really important to him, because after the Civil War, the only people who were allowed to carry guns were law enforcement in Texas. And so in 1906, after he'd lost control of the sheriff's office, he didn't feel safe here anymore in Columbus, so he moved to San Antonio. Well, howdy everybody. Welcome to another episode of Forgotten Texas History. I'm your host, Chris Larson, the Texas Adventurer, and today we're in San Antonio. San Antonio Courthouse right behind me. So in 1907, Jim Coleman had his final trial here for the murder of Larkin Hope right here in this courthouse. So the prosecutor, after reviewing the evidence, dismissed the case for lack of evidence, and so he was let go, but he stayed in San Antonio. So like I said, Mark Townsend was also living here in San Antonio. When he heard Jim Coleman was in town, he got scared, because he thought Coleman was a pretty dangerous man. So he hired two private detectives, a man named Frank Mariebaum and a man named George Schoaf, to keep an eye on him. The two private eyes, Schoaf and Mariebaum, befriended Jim Coleman. They would go out drinking with him and generally kept tabs on him the whole time he was here in San Antonio. Then he also hired two bodyguards, a man named J.W. Ketchleon and his old friend Marion Hope. And then he sent word to Will Clemens to come out here and help out protecting him also. So May 18th, 1907, Hope and Clemens and Ketchleon met George Schoaf at the Silver King Saloon on West Houston Street. Schoaf left first, and then the three of them walked from there to the Iron Front Saloon on St. Mary's and East Houston Street. All right, so we're down here at the corner of St. Mary's Street and Houston Street. And right here, where the Gunther Hotel is nowadays, was the Iron Front Saloon. They went into a back room where Coleman was talking with Schoaf and Mariebaum, and they just pulled their pistols out and gunned him down right there in his chair with his back to him. So they shot him 6 times, and he laid there, and took him about 40 minutes to die. And he was able to name all the men who were involved with his murder. And the whole time he spent laying on the ground bleeding to death, he was clutching a bottle of morphine that he kept in his pocket that he had to take for all the wounds he'd received in the shootout at the train station in Rosenberg. So if y'all like my content, please like, share, and subscribe, and y'all keep exploring Texas.